I'm Sam from Inheritance Farm, and I want to take a minute to show you around my permaculture herb garden. This is a frog. One of the reasons why permaculture is such a powerful system of design is because it seeks to work with nature and understand the forces that are inherent within nature and to utilize them to create abundance. And one of those big forces is edge effect. In this herb garden here, I put in as much edge effect as I could possibly think of between the two ecosystems of the pond biology and the soil biology inside the herb garden. So let's go take a look. This is our pond system here. It's not terribly big, but it's got a ton of life in it. I just love it. It's such a great system to have connected to the garden. Let's see if I can get him right here. Oh, there he goes. There's quite a few frogs. There's a giant one right here. I think he must be a different variety. And then there's one floating over there. And then they're all through the little cracks and crevices in the plastic, actually. They really like that, which is cool. There's about, I think, 8 fish now. Pretty large sized goldfish that we put in there. You never see them because we haven't finished the trellis yet, so the pond gets too warm for them and they're always in the bottom. But I actually about 5-10 minutes ago saw 2 of them just come up very slightly, and you could just see kind of an orange glow in the water, which is really cool. So how the pond works is we have this Dr. Seuss gutter here, and there'll be a little video somewhere in the thing, so you can see how the gutter system works. But right now we only have it spliced to the lower gutter, and we want it to, and so we get about a garden hose worth of water out of it when it really rains, and I want it to just pour because I actually want this pond to overflow. It's designed to overflow. This is the lowest point over here, and it goes down, this pipe goes down to the bottom, and it's quite deep actually. You can kind of get an idea. Let's see how deep it is there. It's about 2 feet deep in the middle, roughly. The water's low because it actually we've had a lot of dry, and it overflowed a little bit over there because the plastic fell down because I haven't finished tacking it. It's still in construction, but this goes down. This pipe here, it goes down to the bottom, and it opens up in a manifold at the very, very bottom. And when we get a high rain event, water will overflow here, and then we'll kick over into this and create a siphon and actually pull the sediment out of the bottom of the pond. And then there's a cut down in the pipe right around here, which will actually stop the siphon. So when it rains, the pond will get up to this point here, at the lowest point, overflow, kick on the siphon, drop back down, fill up again. So we're going to hook it into the upper gutter system, which we'll show you in a little video somewhere, maybe here or here. And so we get a ton of water coming out of this because we want it to absolutely overflow every time. And the benefits is that we get the anaerobic bacteria will be flowing throughout the garden. The ammonia, which will become nitrates for the garden, will be flowing throughout the garden. We have a predator habitat here with all these frogs. Actually, there was a plant that was getting eaten until the frog showed up, and now it's not getting eaten anymore, and it's one of the bushest ones we'll show you in the next video. It's design, it has a shelf, a sort of shelf around the outside edge here for planting things like this, and then it drops off real steeply right in the middle and goes right down to the deeps. So we have a shelf for plants like this. This is a water iris. It's like a Japanese water iris, I'm not really sure, but, and yeah, so let's talk about the trellis. This is our trellis system here. Bear with us, guys. I know it's not the prettiest thing in the world. It's still under construction, and we're really trying to make it so that it shades the pond, because with this black pond liner, which I know from Home Depot, and I know it's not all organic and everything, but I really didn't want it to leak into the foundation over here, so I went with a liner. And but the black really does absorb a lot of heat and kind of turn it into bath water. The frogs like it, but the fish are always at the bottom. So what we're hoping to do is really shade it with the Malabar spinach and the lazy housewife beans. So we get an edible crop, we get shade for our pond, and and hopefully a little bit more aesthetic too. Fingers crossed on that one. But this is the herb garden here. It has 3 mounds, and they're all on contour, which means that the water does not run. It just kind of floods, like a puddle would. So these will actually just hold water until it gets to the end, and then it runs out. And this is the outflow right here of the siphon that we talked about. And eventually right here in this spot, I'm going to put a 5-gallon bucket with vermicompost in it. So we'll get that another set of bacterial inoculum all through the garden every time it rains. These troughs here are also going to be filled with gravel in the not too distant future, which will really help with the walkways because it's a little uneven right now to walk, but it also will slow the water and provide a whole bunch of surface area for the water to flow through and do the ammonia to nitrate conversion. So. Alright, so let's talk about the mound construction here. So this on top here is grass clippings, just old grass clippings. We have a video of us collecting those actually, which we'll share. But you can see that they turned brown on the outside, but they're still green inside. Mulch, specifically straw, I don't know about grass clippings. I think grass clippings are probably a little bit better because there's so much more surface area on them. But straw, every 3 inches of straw holds 1 inch of rainwater and then slowly percolates it back to the soil. So we've added, there's probably 3 inches, close to 3 inches of mulch here on top. Then underneath that we have a newspaper layer, which I need to actually re-newspaper this whole garden because I didn't know originally that the one layer, that you're supposed to put a full thickness of Sunday paper every time you put down paper, and sometimes I only put it 1 layer thick, and that went away, degraded rather quickly. So we're starting to get some weeds through it. Under that newspaper layer we have compost on top, 4-year-old compost. It's really good stuff actually. And mixed in with that, and mostly in the bottom, is wood. So we have this great compost on top of wood. Now the reason we put the wood is because it's like a hugelkultur type of bed. And hugelkultur means that you're putting wood under the soil. And what the wood does is it breaks down and it adds nutrient to the soil. But it also stores both nitrogen and water and acts like a sponge and gives them back over time. And so you can see that this is, I mean, it's just breaking down. And this mulch here isn't even a year old under here, but it's just wet to the touch. And it's been dry for the last 4 or 5 days, but it's wet to the touch. And then we're just barely on the surface. So if you dig down here, I mean, it's really nice and moist stuff down there. And we never water the garden. We never weed the garden. We just let it be. I mean, we weed it occasionally, I guess. I shouldn't say we never weed it, but we don't really have to weed it very much at all. It takes about 5 minutes. So let's put all that back, and in the next video we'll talk about what herbs are in the garden and why they're placed where they are and how they work with the garden design. Thanks guys.